Good day. Welcome, everyone. By saying good day, I made it a good day. That's the power of will. I don't know. I haven't been around much yet today. So maybe it's a bad day. I don't know. But maybe by saying it's a good day, I changed it. We'll find out. I got most of the technical mumbo jumbo done with this map, I think. Finally. It would have been 1,000 times faster if it was all the organic stuff, just rocks and trees. But all the little detail, the architectural, wow. Yeah, when I wake up, it takes a good 2 hours for my brain to actually start working. So here you go. I think I'm gonna. So, what I was doing last night was started finalizing the river system. So you can see this one back here. See how it just goes to blue and then dark blue? That's so that resin can be poured in there up to that layer, and it'll look nice and deep and cool, hopefully. That way. At the waterfall, I left the waterfall as kind of a little wall to hold in most of the resin. And so I've got to do that for the rest of the river system as well. So what I'm basically doing is selecting river. Alita, good morning, good
Hi,
afternoon.
Lisa. Hello.
I think all these rivers are the same altitude. Lisa is tired. I was at the barn late last night because Sononi had an upset tummy for horses that could be fatal, and then she was stable. Finally went to bed at 12:30 a.m. and then went back to check on her at 6 a.m. and again at 10 a.m. She seems to be acting like a normal self now. Ooh, that's scary. There wasn't anything different about her diet, was there? You didn't try to feed her super horse vitamins or anything? Alright, switching to pin mode. Button. Brimstar is asking what my favorite Zelda game is. It depends on how you define favorite. I'd say my favorite. Oh, see, okay, so even then that's hard. Certainly in my adult life, it was Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild reminded me most of, you know, my very first Zelda, which was the original Legend of Zelda, which was just so impactful on me. It's the first video game that I played where I felt like I was in a world, as opposed to just a series of challenges on different screens and you go from one screen to the next. And that really just fired my imagination, and I think it's like ultimately the reason I got into game creation as a job. So you can't compete with childhood experiences because they're so vivid and vital, and they shape your personality so much. So it's really unfair to hold any other sequels or other things in the same ballpark up to that. You just can't compete no matter what. Which is a lot of the trouble with Star Wars franchises running into. You've got all these man babies my age who are like, I want the same experience I had when I was 8. Why aren't you giving me that experience? It needs to be more like it. I mean less like it. I mean more like it. I mean less like it. That is the call of the 40-year-old man baby. No, Van Mort is here. Thank goodness. AJ Baki says, maybe I should feed her super horse vitamins. It seemed like she just needed more electrolytes. It doesn't help that the goofball wouldn't drink water, so she was really dehydrated. She was living up to the saying that you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Is she like the horse incarnate of me?
No, she might be. She might be. If Heather died and reincarnated as a horse, maybe she's the full of a horse that you used to be before you got reincarnated as you. It's possible.
You
can't disprove it.
Maybe I drink so much water, that's why I don't get thirsty.
Yeah, you drink like a horse.
However, I have a small body, and I drink enough apparently when I have to on my 3 months.
Apparently.
I'm gonna pass that yet, although. I'm still with it.
Grimstar says it's a pretty huge influence, and Link to the Past did that for me. It was the first game I connected with someone that wasn't co-op involved. Oh yeah? Did you guys, did you play it together and like trade off taking turns, or did you just like talk about it on the playground? was watching a video criticism on the original Legend of Zelda, and they kept throwing around the word bad design and holding it up to the standards of today. One of the main criticisms was that it had all these just ridiculous secrets that you could never figure out by yourself. Like, the only way you would ever know to burn that particular bush would be to spend like 6 weeks burning every bush in the game, or, you know, bombing every wall, or by buying Nintendo Power magazine, or talking to your friends on the playground who had bought Nintendo Power magazine. And so naturally, as a civilized gentleman, I left a response on that video explaining why they were wrong and bad for saying that. You cannot judge a piece of art, especially in a technological evolving medium. I use the example of film. You know, it's less applicable to painting or dance or whatever, but like, if you look at a movie from the 30s, you could say, oh man, the editing is terrible, the pacing is bad, the special effects are awful. This is, man, too bad they didn't know how to make good movies back then. Right? It's just bad filmmaking. It's like, no, you gotta look at stuff in context, or you're taking away the achievement of the people who worked on it at the time. So yeah, Legend of Zelda is not a fun game if you go into it blind without all the crutches that were available at the time, back in the day. You could say it has bad design in comparison to modern games. Yeah. But at the time, it was so revolutionary and took such design brilliance to make design and technical brilliance to make a world like that. And they were experimenting. They were trying to figure out, because there was nothing to look at in the past and say, oh, if you hide secrets this way, it's effective and fun. And if you hide secrets this way, it's not fun and frustrating. Like, there's no way you could just intuit that, even with playtesting, I would argue. Although, to be honest, I don't know how much playtesting existed in, 84, 85 when they were developing The Legend of Zelda. So anyway, that's my little rant. Brimstar, you both played it with someone and talked about it on the playground? Cool. So you probably remember every nook and cranny of this map, huh? I was surprised when I recently learned how late Link to the Past came out. I assumed that it was like early 90s, but I guess it was more like, I see 96 or something. Let me get up here real quick. Link to the Past release date. Oh, it was 91. What was I looking at where they said it was later? Huh, okay. I guess I don't have that much of an excuse to have not played it as much. I'm not sure why I didn't. I thought it was because I graduated high school in 93. Although I suppose I was probably like getting engaged and stuff. Although that didn't stop me from playing a lot of games when I was in high school. I had a Genesis well before I had a SNES. Maybe that had something to do with it. Yeah, so I do not know my excuse for why I'm not as big a fan of... Again, it just comes down to when it imprints on you as a young pup, I think. I probably felt, I've been here, done that. It wasn't that I didn't like it as a result. It just wasn't, life-changing like the first Zelda was. my experience with it initially was I did not have a Nintendo. My neighbors did, and so I was over at their house whenever it was allowed. Either, I don't remember if we traded off like playing. I feel like we probably traded off every death or something. But man, we were stuck on the first palace forever because there had never been the paradigm that you could move a block in a game. Like, there were these stairs in the middle of these immovable blocks, none of the other blocks you'd ever been able to move. But one of them, at the end of the first temple, you could, if you just walked against it for about a second, it would move. And I don't remember how we finally figured that out. I'm guessing it was through either a Nintendo Power article, or at that time it would have been Nintendo Fun Club, or if it was, you know, we heard it from someone else. I was homeschooled at the time, so I didn't have that playground experience, so being able to talk to all the other kids at school who'd been playing. I just had my one friend who owned the Nintendo. But eventually we got through it. And yeah, the heightened feel, like the effect that the music could have on you, and the like rudimentary graphics and all that stuff. As a child, you put so much more of your emotional and creative faculties into that interpretive process. So I think that's one of the big reasons it imprints so hard, is because so much of yourself is poured into it. I had a very similar experience with Metroid, but that came after Zelda, so it didn't have quite the same impact. But yeah, I remember being like legitimately spooked in Metroid. That music is so creepy, and just the black void of a background and very strange environments. $76, hello, hello. As you can see, I'm doing the incredibly fun task of selecting water. So Letha, how does that work when your horse isn't doing well? Do you get a call from the shed thing? Hey Brimstar, thanks for subscribing. Thank you very, very much. Oh, a tier 1 subscription. Okay, you deserve a round of applause. Thank you, thank you. Enjoy the points. You got so many hearts. Did you know about the hearts, Brimstar? Yep, and you also got Scola. Let's see. Coveted Scola. Now you could look vaguely perturbed and displeased with people whenever you like with the press of a button. I wish I could breathe. I've got to go swimming tonight. In theory. But I'm still getting over a head full of sinus infection. Van Morta, hey, thanks for 100 bits. Did they fall in my cup? Hey, my cup's missing. Where'd my cup go? Oh, I have it turned off for some reason. Turn back on, cup. Look at that, I have a whole bunch of stuff turned off. Oh, right, I was trying to figure out why my camera wasn't working earlier. Okay, yeah, there's my cup.
Facebook
All better.
reminded me of something really weird.
What?
And I was like, too soon? I had no idea. At massage therapy, this is going to hurt. Cringe.
Oh, God.
We can laugh. What's a sexual assault? It happened a couple years ago. It's fine.
Yes, always funny.
Always a good time. I literally, this is like right when I first started.
Oh.
I started like, I thought it was October, but it was beginning of September.
Leith says, the barn owners sent me a text and let me know she hadn't been eating, so then I summoned my trainer friend to meet me there and she helped me figure things out. Thankfully, we didn't need to call an emergency vet. Nice. That's like when I have computer problems, I can call my IT friend over.
If I hadn't been sexually assaulted, then he never would have gone to jail.
True. He probably, well, he would have kept doing it to multiple
Well,
other
yeah.
women.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean,
Eventually,
well,
someone.
he barely went to jail. You know,
Yeah.
thanks.
He wouldn't
to
have visited
I mean,
jail for a couple weeks.
months.
Was it months?
He was in it for 60 days
60 days.
when he was supposed to be.
That's something.
Actually, no, he was no. He was supposed to be there 60 days, but he got out even. Technically, he's 90, but he'd already been in it for a little bit.
Alright, so they
And
counted
so
that.
they for good behavior, they took away 30 days. So he got out in 60 days, but then never had to follow up, and I never heard back from the position. I was like, really, I don't think he ever went to,
Yeah.
when our Queen County correctional was like, nah, whatever, I'm going back on this. He doesn't have to do anything for this.
I would have to reach out to him again.
I mean, that could be me. It was a year ago that I contacted him.
Yeah, let's follow up. You never know. More water over here. So much water. Brimstar, what is your most dramatic memory of The Link to the Past? Like a scary boss, or dungeon music, or like first time you went to the dark world? Like, just curious. I remember the dark world being pretty creepy. Just the fact that the entire world changed, that was pretty brilliant stroke of design work there. And a little bit of water here too. Actually, I think I want to do these pools separately because they're so much shallower. Because I use box selection, I've got all these funny little shapes down here I need to deselect. Oh, you missed clicking on the lion head. Don't worry, it's coming back soon. Oh, and I deselected all of my water. Gotta be less aggressive. Did that work? All these funny little divots and stuff where I was selecting downward and then moving stuff without deselecting on the bottom. Don't worry, I've got a way to fix that. Don't worry, guys. Okay, for my selection. That's a good face for when you've missed the lion head. Skull eye is the appropriate response. I don't know if when I select a color, when stuff is selected, if it goes through the darkening of the selection or not. Alright, but first I'm going to move it down a little bit because Jeff is going to be pouring look, it's got a title action, resin, clear resin in here. So there's got to be some depth for that to happen. Oh, I forgot to do something first. before moving it, I want to tap on it a couple times, which makes the mask feathered softer. So now when I move it down, it should be a smoother gradation. I think I've got all that. Dark blue. Hand painted. Areas so they look like they're deeper. Uh-oh. Right here. For the feather. Just took away everything I did. Why did I do that? Oh, I accidentally tapped. Look, this is the undo history. I accidentally tapped it here when I was trying to drag on the edge. So click here, in theory. Takes me back to my selection, yes. Whew, that was scary. Drag this down a little bit so it's less likely to happen. And for that, it's hard to see because it's so dim. But it should blend the dark together at the same time, pulling the geometry down so it's not going just straight down, so the won't take as much resin to fill. Also, I assume gives it a little bit of a optical illusion. Whew. Words are hard. A little optical illusion because everything's, rather than going straight down, it's going like this down, and so it'll seem like the vanishing point is further out. It's a classic optical illusion. Alright. I think it should be safe. Undo the thingy. Okay. Now, is that water darker than up there? Yes, it is. Okay. So, lesson learned. If you want to choose the colors you're going to need for your palette, do it before you cover them with the selection thing. I don't think it's bad that the water up here is a little lighter than down here. Let's see if I could. Just marry them a little more. Whoop. Take off the Z-add. Once resin is over these areas, it's going to be awfully hard to tell one way or the other. As y'all know, I'm too much of a perfectionist, and it makes everything take too long. Yesterday I was working on the Beaumark busts, the large and the small Beaumark busts in the garage, and you know, I hadn't really touched them or looked at them in like a month or so, and just the amount of things I decided, you know what, it's so close to being exactly how I want it, I might as well take it the rest of the way and make it exactly how I want it. So just keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and asking myself as I'm doing it, is anyone ever going to notice this? Is this the right way to achieve the goals in my life? And the answer is no. Well, the answer is it's complicated, because that tendency that I have to try to make everything as perfect as it can be potentially could pay off at some point. It'll take 2 hours, Josh said. Yep, this map should take me about 2 hours to do. And if you go back to all the streams that I've done of this and add them all up, I'm pretty sure you'll come to exactly 2 hours. Very confident. Let's see, I think these waterfalls should be very light, since they're going to be frothy, in theory. Froth, froth, froth. Uh-oh. Oh, crap. My rivers went through the bottom. Oh, no. That is actually super bad. Do I have enough undos before I deselect? Well, this is the beautiful thing about Zbrush, is I can go back and forth on my undo stack and see. Okay. There they are selected. Are they still selected? No, they're just dark. There we go. Wow, I don't know how I managed to not see that before. Yep, I know. So that just pruned off the rest of the stuff that I did after that. But it wasn't necessary. Just add more wiggly bits around the bottom and make it look like you did it on purpose. If this was my own thing, I would do that, to be honest. But because this is being 3D printed, there's a certain tolerances, and Jeff like has this wooden like holder thing for it. So I'm trying not to exceed the bounds of the model, so he doesn't have to recalibrate anything. Boy, it's just becoming harder and harder for me to breathe. Probably take more. I don't have decongestant. I should get more decongestant. No, I don't have a cold. I got cold-like symptoms about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it did the usual thing where it lasted about 24 to 30 hours. Mostly went away, but my head was still stuffy. But other than that, I felt fine and everything. And I finally went and got diagnosed with a sinus infection. I try not to take antibiotics all the time, because that's actually bad for the future of humanity. Like, it literally is. Our over-reliance on over-prescribing antibiotics for everything is making them less and less effective over time, which means the more you use them, literally the more babies are going to die. Like, so try to avoid it. That's my interpretation. Please, if you're a scientist, correct me, because I would love to not think that's the case. But yeah, it had been like 3 weeks, and I was like, this stuffiness is not going away. And like, if I tilted my head certain directions, you know, snot would just pour out of my nose. It's like, all right, something needs to be done, obviously. So I went and got antibiotics, and I've been on them for almost a week. What do you mean bad for humanity? I don't want to breed the next super virus? Well, I mean, okay, so ultimately maybe it's better for humanity if there's a super virus. Right? There's all sorts of super villains who agree with that. The great culling, as it were. Get rid of all the weaklings in the gene pool. Only the strong survive. That'd be a hilarious way to become a super villain. By taking too many antibiotics, I mean. I mean, to be the supervillain, you would have to be the one prescribing, like over-prescribing them.
There's a lot of misinformation about the whole thing, too.
It's complicated, and whenever a complicated scientific issue is reported on by non-scientists, it inevitably gets distorted in funny ways.
By public.
I mean, if I understand the basics of it, it's just basic evolution. Like, viruses are evolving to be resistant to antibiotics. The more antibiotics there are, the faster the strains are going to evolve.
But the problem is you're missing the biggest mechanism for that.
What's the biggest mechanism?
The biggest mechanism is people don't take full dose. That's the fastest and the biggest problem why there's any resistance. Like, I have taken so many antibiotics, and it's not because I have supervillain and overprescribing doctors. It's because the thing about bacteria.
I was going to say, have you asked them if they're supervillains?
Well, they didn't wear a mask.
Oh, did they go?
Remember that conversation we had to have with the kids? Like, wait, you do understand that
bad people don't wear masks.
Don't wear masks and laugh evil. They'll probably have a puppy or a candy or a sword or fun.
Yeah.
Or a fun sword, you know. Like a Halloween pop sword. They're not gonna look, and they're just like, what?
Lose their mind.
But no, like the thing is, people, especially when you have public wanting to do a cause and just getting behind it without knowing the chemistry of why you have resistant strains, because if you don't kill it all the way,
it learns from that.
It learns, which is what we do non-stop in our whole life. Like, it is, you know, biology, but the thing is, when most people, aren't like me, who has a very, I don't know, pill-oriented time schedule. I have to take a lot of
like 100 pills a day.
Yeah, and it's not because I'm
You're super good at taking pills.
Yeah, it's like I had to do a routine, but in general, most people don't, and especially when you get antibiotics, which is even hard for me, who does have a pill, I don't know, what is that called?
Regimen?
Anyway, so, like, people who don't have that, it can mess things up. And antibiotics is very, like, it's not so much just like a pill in the morning when you wake up. There's reasons why it says every 12 hours is because it really continues the thing. If you took all of it at once, it wouldn't do anything. It's about the length of time and the continual dose that's going in that kills and stops that, like, spreading and recreating. And so the thing about sinus infections, oh my god, there's so much bad information, even with medical professionals. And this is why if somebody has a sinus infection, they should really just go to an ENT and ear, nose, and throat. They're the ones who deal with that stuff. And once, like, they're like, oh yeah, you have a bacterial sinus infection. People, you don't catch a bacterial sinus infection. The bacteria is already in your sinuses because it can't get out because of structure, or maybe you have allergies, things, and you know, just one sinus infection actually can cause some scarring in the mucosal layer, and so that blocks things up. And so there's more scarring, the more smaller spaces, and the more crevices. So like I have, I at some point like got a bacteria, and it didn't leave. It's not like because I caught a cold. It has nothing to do with that. And bacterial sinus infections are important to destroy because they really wreak havoc in your whole like systems, your brain. It can go into your brain. But anyways, that bacteria can it just spreads and it's not good. And a neti pot isn't going to fix crap. Sorry.
Honey, you use a neti pot and garlic and cumin and vitamin C2
up your nose.
You take 8,000 trillion milligrams of vitamin C.
Yeah. The whole point though is those scarring, the scars happen and it closes off passages or makes them small and tiny and narrow. So then if you have even an allergy, like hay fever like I do, all it takes is one little tiny stuff up thing to close that all the way, and that bacteria multiplies. And so the antibiotics is needed because A, that bacteria is bad and it causes more problems. And also, like, man, it hurts so bad. Like, I mean, it's bad. Like, you get really sick and it lasts forever and it's terrible. But anyways, you gotta take your whole course of antibiotics, and that is like the biggest enemy of just taking care of like bacteria, really. Is that people, you know, there are doctors who are like, oh, I don't want to be like one of those evil villains who overprescribe, and then there's others who are like, they do overprescribe, but I don't feel like I don't even know actually if it's really overprescribed. Because how can you really say that if you're not studying and following up on these people? And did they take the antibiotics a full week? Did they take as directions? Did they, you know, et cetera, et cetera? Like, it's really hard to pin it on the overprescription. Is it really overprescribed, or it's just that it's underfollowed? It was necessary, but people didn't take it all the way. And then they passed it on to somebody who has a weaker immune system or whatever, and then things broke. So, anyways, point being, it's kind of like focusing on and just saying.
Hey, thanks, Brimstar. Thanks for stopping by.
Oh, sorry.
No, keep going.
Oh, well, I just think saying, like, it's really easy to just say we overprescribe it, blah, 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 evil, evil, evil. Mm-hmm. That's the easy answer. That requires, you know, like, it's just a side. It's like, it feels like politics to me. It's just an easy go-to answer, but it completely discredits. I don't know. The thing it does, it hurts people who actually need it. And then internally you feel guilty for needing it, or like you're a bad person, or blah, blah, but none of that's true. You're not bad or guilty, or is it your fault that you need antibiotics? And it is also not appropriate to shame people who do need antibiotics, because what others don't understand is, especially with bacterial like sinus infections, once it's there, it's basically always there. Mm-hmm. And it's why it usually leads to sinus infections. Like when they did a CT scan, they could see it trapped in my sinuses. And I wasn't sick. I wasn't prescribed antibiotics, and I wasn't sick. I wasn't having the symptoms because those sinus passages were open. They just had a crevice in there from the scar tissue that held some fluid, no matter what. So they had to go in there and reroute it, and now I get sinus infections. I don't even know it because my sinuses are so deep and roomy now I don't even know it until it's gone way too far. So that's a bad thing too.
Good to know.
I should have thought more about it.
No, it's good.
And I made Josh go because honestly, he barely gets sick, but he was sick like a few months ago, and it was like longer than normal, and it seemed like I believe he had a sinus infection at that point too, just because it was longer and how he sounds, and I know his habits, right? I'm not saying this is like for everyone. Anyways, and then this happened, and I just think that bacteria got trapped, and it never got released, and then, you know, with the smoke and the allergies and stuff, it just closed up more passages, and then it grew and got worse, and it spread to other, like throughout the cavity, and then it got really sick. It wasn't going away.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have a fever. Ah, that's another thing, kills me. Not everybody runs fevers. Believe it or not. Just ask a chronically.
I believe it.
The chronic, well, and fever is, the misperception is 98.6. The real fever definition is 2 degrees more, 2 degrees higher than your normal.
Right.
Mine is 96.7. And when my temperature is 98.6, I feel like crap. And when I hit 99, I feel like a normal person feels like at 101. You know what I mean? And you have to have, there's a mechanism that you can actually, what is it, the antigens? IgA antibodies, like, if you don't have certain things to tell your body to do a fever, it won't run a fever for a long time. Like, it's just not tricked. The wiring. Like,
Your body just gets to where it's like tired of being feverish,
so
and so
like,
stops it.
It just doesn't trip it. I think it has something to do with, like, now I'm like, my brain is wondering if it's tied to autonomic nervous system disorders, like dysautonomia, is what I have, because it's your body's natural defense, and it's just not, and it's your natural defense, but it's like, it's a system that is going on in the background in its life, and it can be faulty, and like, sometimes people don't show that they have allergies, and it's because when they're looking for the IgA antibodies, it's short for immunoglobulin antibody. But the IgA antibodies, people will sometimes have a false negative allergy result when actually they're positive. But the reason they don't see the IgA, the antibodies increase, is because that person actually doesn't create. They don't build. Their body does not create and build IgA antibodies. It's deficient. So you'll never see that response in their blood because they're IgA deficient.
I believe it. Hey Damon, distracted by football, are ya? Damon says, I'm a bad boy, lashes himself. Antibiotics are for really bad things, lashes himself. I'm contributing to superbugs, lashes himself. That's good. You need 3 good self-lashings to punish yourself in there.
Definitely.
Leela Rose Foreman says your son is upstairs working on Blender. That's good. Blender, that's the software to make our special effects for the Space Invaders movie. So I've got to figure out how to get this light color on the surface, not in the cracks. How do I do that? I mean, one thing I could do, which would be annoying, is just like, is just paint the whole thing lighter. But I have so much dark already that would just be an obnoxious waste of time. And then the cracks would be darker. It's all great. Don't want to do that. So I could make the cracks darker. But that is not... Well, I guess then what I could do is I could paint the highlights by selecting the cracks. Yeah, 76 is always late. This just doesn't get the color that I want. Like, look at the color of these clips. They're really like, what is that? I don't know, sandy. Gotta be a way to switch the color. So if I do that, it does light in the cracks and nothing on the top. If I switch it to Z add, does that reverse that? I don't think so. It does. But since it's doing cracks and not raises, oh, I wonder if I could just invert this. How do you invert a thing? Under brush. Alpha and texture. Poly paint mode, adapt and magnify curve. Let's see an invert. Okay, let's just open it in Photoshop and invert it. See if that fixes my problem. Rocks. Nope. Stone. And if I recall correctly, it's 47. Okay. Control I to invert it. No. Why is nothing happening? What happens if we get 47B?
Does cinematography include...
Cinematography.
I actually like put that. We're not allowed to answer that.
Okay.
But does that include the edit afterwards where it's like the filter? Or does
No, I think cinematography is strictly like position of the camera, position and movement of the camera, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
That's what I think, but I don't know. I don't want to do it. Just setting all season.
I don't want to say the same thing. Okay, so I can make this a lot brighter. There we go. I'm not going to worry about it mucking up the ground because I'm going to be texturing that after this. if I can get a higher res first. Also, I broke my own rule and I started working on an area up front. I need to go work on a rock back here somewhere. Here. Sigrid, you've been checking out Aletha's books? That's awesome. Okay, so what I want to do is see... First I'm going to save it. Okay, now I'm going to see, can I go up to 1500 resolution without destroying it? Because for whatever reason, the threshold at which it decides to destroy it seems really random. Every time I add more stuff to it, little rocks, trees, houses, that kind of stuff, the math changes under the hood, so... Hey, thanks for that, Damon. Must be commercials, so you're not too distracted by footy ball. Foosball is the devil!
Is that the right word I'm using? I
Okay.
don't understand. The genre seems super conflated with like getting mixed up with other ones, or
So genre is probably not the right word if you're talking about cinematography. You're probably talking about the art form, the
about
field.
film.
Oh, film in general?
Yeah, a horror film. Like
Oh, okay,
the
that
horror
is genre
genre.
then. Yeah.
So does that make sense?
Yep. Okay, so 1536 is clearly too much. Let's try 1488. Are you going to give us your review of... Are you going to give us your review of Startling Nuns, the movie? Huh, 1488 is also too much.
I just want to actually know the threshold of when they think they're having like memory problems. So a lot, because if you say it, everyone's like, oh yeah, me too. And a lot of people, yeah, we all do. Like, we all have like, but like, where is the point that it becomes obvious to them? Because I was talking to somebody about, who told me about their parents. Oh,
Dementia or Alzheimer's.
like dementia, the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's, or even like how brain tumors affect, you know what I mean? Like but there's also like, then other people talk about brain fog, and, you know, like even hormones can disrupt your brain from working. As I'm trying to think of,
I mean, if you got dementia, I've got it really bad too. I have a list of words that I always forget on the bottom of my monitor. Okay. Oh, I hit switch color. I didn't mean to hit switch color. I meant to hit backface mask. Why did I... Well, thought something was important, but then didn't want to tell me what it was. No. However, makes a good sound. So I should be perturbing the other side now. This is interesting. I'm trying to get it so it's not... So it has some of the pattern that the actual game has, but it also is a little more realistic. And so having these convolutions that I've already kind of, you know, roughed in underneath that does a great job of breaking up the tiling of it. I mean, I could also do a better job of, like, spinning it, like, you know. But, either way, it's giving me a pretty cool rock face without, quickly. Yeah, I'm trying to get a rock texture that's, you know, it's basically this all over the place, right? And so if you look close, it's pretty much just like a couple rounds, a row of rounds, a row of not rounds, a row of rounds. So I'm trying to match that in spirit, but not literally. So I'm not going for like a absolutely realistic rock look. I still want it to feel a little bit gamey, but not be completely gamey. Jeff is doing he's been working, I don't know if he finished it or not, but he's been working on a version of this map that's like super detailed, but it's still all in Minecraft. And so that will have all the repeated textures, you know, be like completely 100% game looking, whereas this is, we're going for an interesting in between, like part diorama, part game. And it says, the word I always have trouble remembering is anecdotal. I even had to spend the last couple minutes looking it up because I couldn't remember. The one that gets me the most often, and I'm just going to say what it means because I literally can't bring it to mind. It's when you're trying to make two things make sense together. And I keep wanting to say rectify or rationalize or something along those lines, but that's not it. It's like squaring this circle. It's it's making two things make sense together that don't initially. It's not coincide. Two things that seem like they're at odds. And so you need to work hard to explain how they're not at odds, which is something I end up doing a lot. No, not rationalize. Oh man, too bad that paper is on my desk at work, because that's where I need it most often. Oh, actually, I think I did end up making a document. Let me see if it's on that. think it's literally called Words I Always Forget.
Document names I always forget. About the words I always forget.
No, I guess it's not.
Called it.
What? I swear I made this document. What else would it be called? Words I Always Forget. It's right. Come on, search. Really? You couldn't find Words I Always Forget, even though it's literally called Words. Okay. So, affectation, ambiguous, ad hominem, cognitive dissonance. I don't have a problem with that one usually. Colloquial. Also, some of these are like I don't forget them, but I forget how to spell them, to the point that spell check can't figure out what I'm trying to do. Dunning-Kruger effect, Epicurean, libertarian. I don't know. Huh. At some point, I had a problem remembering that. Milieu, nostalgia. Come on, head. Paradox, perennial, permutation, premise, procedural, propaganda. Q. the spelling of a line of people in a queue. It's so ridiculous.
And trying to get it spell check right?
Yeah.
Is like, no.
Because it's Q-U-E, U-E. Okay, and there's the word I was looking for. Reconcile. That's right. It's impossible for me to remember the word reconcile whenever I need it. Yes, I was overcome with nostalgia. Say nostalgia. That, or I was overcome with 3 pounds of snot in my head, weighing down my brain. I think I probably had nostalgia on that list because I was working, probably back when I was working on Super Adventure Box, I kept having to type it, and yeah, spell check, like, it was like one letter. If you don't get that one letter, it will never tell you how to spell nostalgia. Seems like in this age of internet connectivity, it would make sense for Google and Word and all of those to have a little checkbox that pops up. Like the second time you're like, no, that's not the word I'm looking for. That it pops up as a little like report button. That, you know what I mean? That then it would just auto-generate a little email that gets sent to whoever it is who populates the autofill things or the spell check boxes. They'd be like, oh, look at that. Turns out a lot of people are trying to spell nostalgia when they spell it exactly right except for this one word. Now I want to look at some of these other words. Procedural. Yeah, weird. Again, yeah, because I made this list, you know, I don't know, over the past 10 years, a lot of these have just become part of my regular, you know, it's discussed at work all the time, it's discussed in the game industry, so procedural isn't hard for me. Although that may be one of the spell ones again. Propaganda, Q, reconcile, relativism, solipsism, sublime. Did that have that other one? Yeah, Epicurean. That's one I always forget. Like, I know exactly what it is and where it came from and how Plato was upset by it, but could not tell you the word for it. How Plato misinterpreted it. What was that? Socrates. No. Anyway. Sunk cost fallacy, synonymous, transcend, zeitgeist. The zeitgeist is one I can never spell. Okay, and then I have a section, words I spell so wrong, spell check, can't figure it out. Counselor. Counselor, you guys. C-O-N-S-E-L-O-R. That one is one of the... I've described my spelling problems before as being vowel blind, or vowel deaf. Like, I just... Counselor. Salur. That E there, I could see that as an A. I could see it as an I. Salur. I could see it as a U. So I could almost see it as an O, or hear it. Right? So it's like, I'm just helpless when there's more than one of those type of vowels in a word. And counselor has... I guess two of them, the E and the O there. Exercise. Still will never spell that right on the first try. I always mix it together with exorcism, you know, like... guarantee. Can't ever get that one right. Oh, I should add to that guard. And since Google Docs doesn't have an auto spell check for some reason I will never understand, I have to go 3 menus deep to do a spell check. Yep, I spelled it wrong. G-U-A-R-D. Very close to guarantee. Naive, which it looks like knave, with an I in there. Necessary. I always end up putting 2 C's and 1 S. But when I sound it out to myself, I say necessary. If I do that every time, I can get it. But again, necessary. Like, I pronounce it Seri. S-E-R-Y. But it should be Sari. Necessary. And then you get to that point where sounds you make just sound like gibberish. The gibberish that they actually are anyway.
When things end in like S, I don't say those right. I like, for the life of me, it sounds so weird. If when I say it, I feel like I'm doing it wrong, and it takes a lot of work. So I always say S. Or S.
Like what kind of word?
S. Like A-S-K-S. Like that.
Oh,
thing,
if someone asks for it?
S. Yeah, like it ends in S-T-S. Like, I don't know. People were pissed.
Pix, or it didn't happen. That's spelled Pix, like the initial people who lived in England before the Normans and Saxons and stuff came. It's a pun. A history pun. prima facie, or prima facie. That's one I'll never spell right. And tomorrow, can't spell tomorrow. Letters that randomly decide that, or words that randomly decide you need to double the letters in places. I'll vaguely remember I'm supposed to double something, and then it's just this back and forth of trying to double the wrong ones over and over again. It says, your regular vernacular. Counselor. So easy. My issue is usually words with more vowels than consonants. I remember guarantee because of guar. I pronounce it in my head as guarantee. I remember to substitute U for W. Wow, that is a Byzantine method for remembering a word. Text me instead of being appreciate. You can figure out how to animate camera and exporting stuff. Nice. Told him to put my stream on so I have another viewer. Color. I wish I could have two standard brushes that have different options on them. You don't want it safer? Although we gotta get heavy stuff. Is it weird for you? That's right, you're saying there's a significant difference between being dizzy and off balance, like when you almost fall over all the time. Oh, your body, I see what you're saying. It's not a wonderland. I mean, it looks like a wonderland, but it's actually like...
and then I just watch the comedy as like I'm tripping and I'm spilling everything, and like, you know, and my coworkers are like, oh my god, you're so tough, what are you doing? Like, get a hold of yourself, right? And I'm like, I'm sorry, my bad. Like, the jokes, like, it's how they're supposed to be, literally. It's absolutely amazing anytime
Still remembering.
Yeah, and it's just weird because, you know, my shoulders and my wrists, whatever, they're not holding my ligaments, or they should, so you can't match even like blurring.
Damon suggests that maybe you're having a stroke. I mean, if that's the case, she's had like millions of strokes. Several more a day.
Not. But if it's a stroke, like...
Oh, you're talking
I mean,
about...
I just whatever it is, like a stroke on her thing, like, just use the key.
Do it.
Make
Do it now, I'm here. Kill me.
Like, the worst thing is surviving a stroke. Or a heart attack. Like, that's terrible. And when it does, like, surviving a stroke, like, that's I mean, terrible. Like,
Yeah, honey, do me a big favor and don't survive a stroke.
seriously, though. It's like,
No, I understand. I wouldn't want my family to be burdened with taking care of
yeah,
me in
I
a
mean, it's not like
terrible
even
state
you
anyway.
are your person. You're not even the same.
Really?
I mean, it's terrible. It's like just like dementia and Parkinson's. They're terrible things. They just steal everything from you and from others.
They're terrible. Damon was saying his reply was to Alita.
Oh.
He said, I got a message on my author page and was trying to respond, but the text line is like bouncing, vibrating. What? What even? Why would you do that? Oh, wow.
Like, is it actually doing that, or?
Well, Damon is suggesting maybe she's having a stroke.
Okay, but was it the keyboard, or, I mean, I'm saying,
don't know.
was it was it your eyes, or was it the
Oh, hey, thanks, Damon, for the 400 bits. I'm rich. Honey, we can finally afford that really expensive cranberry juice you wanted. Just kidding, it's not actually expensive.
Or Mexican?
Mr. Stump Dude says, page 13, Link kills monsters. I request a formal hearing for the rules of this channel. Oh wow, this is some meta humor that I'm not picking up on. Oh, PG-13. So you're wanting to know how... Oh, right, because before you comment, it says keep it PG-13. Okay, now I'm picking up what you're putting down. How's it going, Shane? I miss you, bud. Haven't, I was sculpting in the garage yesterday and thinking, man, I miss my son. Wish he was still around. Too bad he's dead. And then I remembered, oh no, wait, he's just at grandparents helping them build a house. Never mind, it's all good. Damon says, $4. You can head to 7-Eleven and get yourselves a nice Slurpee. Each of us. Oh, honey, we can get Slurpees.
It is within walking distance.
Yep.
But it's not how I want to spend my calories.
Yeah. I don't understand. Yeah.
I'd rather have mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you say anything with carbs right now, and I'm going to say it's awesome.
Love it. But I'm still kind of better.
Oh, Mr. Stump says keep it PG. Oh, okay, I should update that, because I don't... PG-13 is fine. The rules for my channel. Like, I don't... Basically, I don't want people coming on and, like, you know, posting or saying pornographic things or, you know, racial slur. You know, it's the kind of stuff that random idiots will do when they get on your channel. Van Morta says, oh, $3.75? Wow! Thank you, Van Morta. I can get the 7-Eleven hot dog. The idea of a hot dog that's been sitting there on that roller for like 5 days aids to perfection, though. I would still love it. Van Morta, I hope you don't mind if I use that actually to get a Pepsi Max. That's my go-to. For like a sweet treat. Mr. Stump Dude says, have you seen the Kim Peel movie? Keanu.
No, but
It's a, like,
I want
a
to.
movie? Or,
Yeah, there's a movie.
I mean, I know Peel is in a movie that just came out.
There's a Netflix one too that
Are you talking about a movie that's actually branded Key and Peele, or a movie that one or both of them is just happens to be in? Ben Mortis seen it? Is it good?
it's out. Is it out right now? Like in theaters?
Mr. Stump Dude says it's by both of them, I think. It's like they're sketches. It's just like a movie length episode then? I mean, their show already is all sketches.
Wait,
It was okay. It's good, a bit too long. Okay.
on but where? I don't understand.
Is it on Netflix, I assume?
Netflix, the theater.
Oh, you rented it. Okay. 76 is giving bits. Wow. We've got a bit off going. All right, 76. What do I need to spend this on? $2 on Google. Okay. I feel like we still have more of their show to go through before we spend $2 on a movie.
I thought you watched it.
We started a new episode that I think was a new season where they were talking about how they're going to come back. You know, that they're going to get really famous and then they're going to come back and do the show every once in a while.
It was a joke, and like that was exactly it. The show once in a while. You think that was a season? You should probably,
We'll look into it.
yeah.
Damon says now we can drive to 7-Eleven instead of walking.
Mm.
Fancy schmancy. Thank you so much, 76. That's very sweet. In all honesty, all of these little tips and stuff just go into all the massive amounts of supplies that I end up buying to do the channel and do art. So. And also Pepsi Max, even though it leaves a weird aftertaste. Damon, so here's your problem. You're a freak of nature. Diet Pepsi is the one that leaves the aftertaste. Pepsi Max does not. Get it straight. Letha's taking her cat to the vet. Alright. I'm sure your cat's gonna have a delightful time. Are you gonna take Pumpkin because he has delusions of grandeur, thinking that he's a king? That's my hope. Damon, yes, you are a freak of nature. Or at least a nature freak. The fact that you let bugs land on you and you just amusedly take pictures of them definitely makes you a nature freak. Pumpkin is the king. Oh, okay. PYBM. Thank you very much. Okay. I'll keep that in mind next time I come over. I'll make sure to bow and scrape before the king. King Pumpkin. Sounds like a character on Adventure Time. Then Mortis started seeing pumpkin spice stuff at the store today. Unleash the spice! The spice makes advertising possible. The spice expands advertising. This is the part of making these maps that is actually really fun. It's just like, it's so mindless, but it just looks so nice as you're doing it, and it's super easy. You don't have to think hard. I wish all of art was like this. Damon says, only sweet bees because they're funny and they zip around sucking up the moisture. Anything else that lands on me gets Old Testament hellfire rain down. Oh, okay. I mean, the fact that you take the time to see what it is that's landed on you, I think that alone. Oh, you do too? Okay.
Only because...
yeah, I guess you don't want to like swat a hornet or something and end up like getting yourself stung. That's a good point.
Mine is all about... Did you see the spider? Yes, I did see the spider. No, I'm just kidding. But that's really where it came from. I stopped and I'm like... But we don't have like a lot of offensive, like, attacking, scary, like, evil bugs flying around here.
Not too many.
That hornet or what wasp or whatever one it was, like that landed on my finger last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my god! And just seeing its butt, like, it's gonna. Oh my god! What is it doing? Why? And it's like, and I can feel all of it, whatever it's doing, just because I spilled a little bit of juice.
Yeah.
And I wiped it off, but it was still.
They want that juice.
Licking me.
And Mortis says, I get giggly once the eggnog starts showing up. Now, that's my job. And if I see pumpkin spice eggnog, I might get a giggity. Oh, wow. Giggity, giggity. That's my best impression. You'll have to make do. I'm sorry.
It's tolerable.
It's tolerable?
Mm-hmm.
It is... There are two things I really wish were different about myself, or like skills or talents that I had that I don't. And one is being multilingual, and the other is being able to do impressions.
Because it's funny!
I'm really glad I married someone who's just as bad as I am.
I'm terrible at it.
What? It's funny! I'm Seinfeld!
What's the deal with impressions? It's funny! It's like if you have me and Shane trying to, man, we just, if we're in the same room doing the same impression, we get like drastically worse with each attempt. It's, you think you've learned better, but no. It's an echo chamber, but like in a negative way.
English and bad English. Oh, you're right. Yeah. I do have one running gag that's probably racist and I need to stop it, but it goes like this. Name any ethnicity and I will do a perfect accent. So let's go ahead and do it right now so that this is on the internet for all time, so that I can be fired from my job at Disney in 20 years when this stream is pulled up. Go ahead. List any ethnicity.
That's why you probably actually shouldn't do it.
No, this is great.
What if I got fired from Disney because you did it? My mom worked for Disney, technically.
That's true. They could retroactively come and fire me.
Mm-hmm. And I do like to go to Disneyland. They might just ban me.
South American native. Honestly, I don't know enough about them to do that one. Wow, you caught me. You got me, Damon. Okay, Swedish. Ugh.
Blindside.
Swedish is the worst possible version of this joke.
You know what's weird is I was just looking up that Blindside song.
Oh.
And what it's about, but it's like Zvu. Yeah. And there's like
whatever those.
There's that
language is.
That sound in there that they use a lot. It's or I don't know. But if you could just remember the sort of sounds to that song, then you could do it.
Yes, Damon, Swedish is easy, and Heather enjoys doing the Swedish chef impression. Go ahead and do your... Yep, there you go.
Now that is on the internet, trust me. It is on Instagram and Facebook. It's like, wow, it almost makes me want to delay doing the things I need to do.
So you can find...
And like, repost it.
Morgan put the chicken in the pot.
It was literally about a year ago.
Come on, guys, give me another ethnicity that I know. Give me just a European one that's not Swedish.
I can do California Valley. So where people ask me, where are you from? I'm like,
California Valley, of course.
I'm like, California? Because I assume that's what they're talking
French.
about.
Okay, ready? Here's my French impression. Mamma mia, that's a spicy frog legs. Oh, I screwed it up. Because I was going to go snails and I changed it halfway through to frog legs. See, this is the joke. And then Chinese is, Mamma mia, that's a spicy egg roll.
Oh, that's
and
the joke.
like Mexican is, Mamma mia, that's a spicy tamale. Not as good. German would be like, Mamma mia, that's a spicy sauerkraut. Wiener Schnitzel. I told you, Damon, I told you it was a guaranteed hit, and I was right.
That's why it is.
I did it really well.
I get it now. Okay. I don't think you can get fired for that.
I think I could. But probably not. But in 10 years, society will have moved on
to all the other things that you've ever written on the internet. One can easily tell that you're probably not racist.
That's not what's important.
Oh, it's not?
No.
You just need that one.
Yeah, you
thing
just
taken out of
need
context.
one weaponized hate mob to propagate the idea that you're a bad person using one out of context thing. That's what it takes nowadays.
It seems like something someone would say out of context.
Yeah.
Like an excuse.
Alright, Damon gave us a YouTube link. Let's check it out. Fail. A parody of Sail. Oh, it's just gonna sing Sail but with fail.
Fail away? Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
That's on.
Wow, that's a really bad impression. I love it. This is a me level impression. Alright. You're right, Damon. I totally botched that one. But you gotta admit, the structure, it's structurally sound, right? Like, if it were performed properly, that would be a pretty solid joke. Do you see why Swedish was the worst one? Because the first thing you think of with food for Sweden is meatballs. And so I would have said, Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball. And they would just think that I was dumb and didn't know that Sweden is different than Italy. Which, I'm dumb, but for different reasons. It's okay? That's what you're giving me? You're going to say it's just okay. I will just tell you, I work in an industry where people joke nonstop, all right? And that joke kills every time. Granted, I usually do a better job of delivering it, but I'm telling you, kills. I mean, you work in an environment where jokes are probably pretty common. Try it out. Try it out. Deliver it well, and get back to me before you pass such harsh judgment on it. You heard it years ago, so it's just okay. Wait a minute. You heard it from who? Because I totally made it up. Granted, it could be a Darwin Wallace thing where we both make it up at the same time, but or a Newton and other calculus guy. David says, I work with a 70-year-old woman and a 50-year-old woman and a bunch of Mexicans. I got to the top of r/dad jokes and can make them crack up. Oh, Van Morty just powered up in Destiny 2. Congrats. I'll let my carpool buddy know that you're playing his game and powering up. Yeah, Heather had a similar experience where she had a bunch of Mexican friends when she lived in Moses Lake, and they would always bust up laughing when she tried to speak Spanish.
That's because I was using Google Translate.
Oh, because she was using Google Translate. Uh-oh. Did I accidentally tap the undo 1,000 times button? I think I only have. Yep. What's the best Spanish phrase that will crack up a Spanish speaker? Yeah, Mona says, I tell one joke that goes like this. Did you know I speak fluent Spanish? Friend, really? Speak some to me. Or speak some, me. Get back to work before I call INS. don't know if I say it right, but they get back to work when I say it. Friend, facepalm. Oh, that's dark, man. That is dark. Any reference to lunch and specific foods really gets them. Alright. Keep that in mind next time I need to make a bunch of Mexicans laugh. I'm trying to think if we have any, if I have any Mexican coworkers. I can't think of any off the top of my head, which is weird. We have generally a very diverse, for a software company, a very diverse company. We have several people from Spain proper, but I can't think of any who are actually Mexican descent. We also very weirdly have very few Indian people. Like, when I go to Costco, I am a minority there. Like, it's mostly, like, huge majority Indian people. And then most of the, like, European looking people there are Russian, based on acrylic languages I'm kind of making out, or some other form of Eastern European. Which we do have a few of those guys at work. A lot of the movie theaters in the area have started having, like, I don't know if they're matinees or if they play at the same time as other movies, but playing a lot of Bollywood movies because there's so many Indian folk moving into the area. Which means a lot of awesome Indian food, I'll tell you what. ANET is confirmed racist. Yep, absolutely. I think that already happened in the press a month or so ago, so no worries there. And Mortis says, I was looking for motorcycle gloves today at the store. Tried on pair after pair, was always too big until I tried a nice pair of lady gloves. Fit perfectly. Nice. Guess who walked out with a pair of nice lady gloves? This guy. Yeah, that never stopped me. They even have a pair of lady pants. I don't think I knew it at the time. It was a weird layout at, where was it? Some store. I thought I was still in the guys section. The pants were okay, like the pockets were really tiny. I thought that was weird, but I liked the style anyway, so I was like, I'm gonna try. And then I got them home and Heather pointed out, those are women's pants. I was like, oh, alright. Fortunately, I am not the epitome of reinforced gender stereotype norms. I do what I want. Was it involved in this protracted conversation that I kept trying to turn into an actual like dialogue, but man, this guy just really wanted to fight, and happened over the course of most of the week, or he's just been, I don't know if the word is trolling. That's right, if they fit, they fit. The button was probably on the other side, yeah. ANET outsourced all the jobs, but brought them all here instead. Maybe that's what's happening. Couldn't tell you. Yeah, but one of the funny, there's two really funny things that this guy said. So he's been like following me on Twitter, and anytime I post anything that is remotely friendly to social justice causes, or even just like retweeting someone who is known to be a social justice warrior, quote unquote, he'll just get on and start, you know, what is the word? I don't know. Just being disagreeable in general. Saying how this is all BS and what is wrong with me and why can't I see reason? You know, all this kind of stuff. And so I decided at some point I said, look, man, if you put down your knives and just want to like talk about this like normal people, I'm open to that if you want to, but you know, I'm not interested if it's just in bad faith, if you just want to, you know, berate me. And so we started getting into a little bit of discussion, and then eventually he wanted me to IM him, so it wouldn't be public, I suppose. And so one of the funny things he said was that everything about me screams social justice warrior, including my hair. He was he really doesn't like my hair, and is convinced that it is some kind of a sign that I am a SJW. Which, that's fine. I don't care. You can call me what you want to call me. Another really funny thing he said when I brought up, how did I put it? It was basically like, so either everyone who believes differently than you is like evil or stupid, you know, or it's possible that you're not really understanding their argument. Let's use Occam's razor here. And his reply to that was threefold, but the first of the replies was, first of all, I have a near genius IQ. It's like, excellent. That is a really good way to convince people of the validity of your argument right there. Good times. I'm thinking of of copy pasting that onto my blog because it's just such a delightful exchange. I've had really like fruitful exchanges with people who started off really really upset at me and thinking I'm a bad, horrible person, and then like through just patient dialogue, I at least turned them around to the point where they could consider that, you know, thinking this thing doesn't automatically make you an evil, bad person. And you know, that's just a little bit of light shown into the world. So I'm always up for that, and it's always, for me, it's fun. It's like a puzzle trying to figure out how to isolate the most fundamental disagreement, because usually that's very far back from the surface stuff, which this guy had the problem of, like, he just really likes his slogans, and you know, it just sounds like he's reading a bullet point list from Stefan Molyneux or Archon of Sargon or whatever. Yeah? What's that guy's name? One of the first Babylonian or Persian rulers. For some reason, he decided to name his channel that. Akkad? He's from Akkad. Sargon of Akkad. I got it. Yes, very contrarian and very much from the I am very smart material. Yes. He was definitely a smart boy. Yeah, I can't remember what got me on that tangent, but it's always interesting. It's interesting for me to chart the successes and the failures of communication. Help me build a model for to better be able to tell when I'm probably wasting my time. Like I guessed, I was at 90% most of the time that this was a waste of time to spend any time talking to this guy. But because I had some moderate success in the past with that sort of endeavor, I was like, this seems like a challenge. This is like next level. This is the Dark Souls of conversing with people. Give it a try. Why not? And Morta has a jacket with a zipper on the wrong side. Yeah, I have a couple of those too. But I'm almost certain they are not women's jackets. I also have a button-up shirt that I know is a man's shirt that has the buttons on the other side for whatever reason. So I don't think that's like a 100% hard and fast rule. Videotape this for what's that thing called? Instagram. No, just want you to. I forgot to post a thing about my screen. So. Is that all blurry? Oh, there we go. Did not work out how I hoped. The other thing that made me decide to spend time with that guy was It was like a perfect encapsulation of what I used to believe before I had my little epistemological breakdown. So it's almost nostalgia to talk to people who still are so confident that, like, if you just look at the facts as they are, it's clear that this political ideology is absolutely right and this other political ideology is absolutely wrong and evil. Just look at the facts, man. Yeah, so it's just fun to go back and remember what it was like to be so absolutely certain of myself and my interpretive faculties. What are you meeping about, Van Morta? Ah, what did I do? Huh. I'm gonna try this again. Go a little further this time. Oops. What? Were you not recording? You terrible, terrible thing. Oh, it's on some weird setting. Like, just do normal. God. Too many options these days, you guys. Now it's gonna work for sure. That one. It says it's much easier to exist with a constant lack of self-worth. And Van Morta lacks self-worth. Sweet, you should live forever then. One moment, guys. Ghost, I might as well post this as an ad. Favorite art. Hashtag, otherwise no one will ever see it. Hashtag live stream. And then HTTP Twitch blah blah blah. Okay. Select all. Facebook, boom, sharing also on the Twitter, paste. Cool. Okay, back to stamping. I thought about doing another thing, and I have this problem that I need to get over that every other artist and streamer doesn't seem to have a problem with, or they just get over it, which is like, I don't want to post a picture of the same thing that I posted like the last 8 times in a row. You know, it's got a little bit of development, but it still looks essentially like the same thing. Am I sketching out on you guys? My Twitch channel keeps like doing the little spinny wheel thing. Never mind, don't answer that because it's not like I can do anything about it anyway. Let me just live in the blissful ignorance. Dropping some, but back to normal. Okay. How's the game going? Is the team winning? Is team good or team evil winning? I guess is what I want to know. the third quarter, so you almost have enough for $1. How's that for a dad joke? You can use that one with your octogenarian coworkers and Mexican coworkers, and I'm sure they will appreciate it. What's a good TV show we should watch next? We're just about to finish up Battlestar Galactica. I've got a list, but I can't remember what's next on it. Well, I don't really have a next, but I don't know what's on it. I like sci-fi, action, fantasy, you know, genre type stuff. Even horror sometimes, assuming it's not all jump startles or torture. I don't like true crime stuff. That just bores me to tears. Like, yep, I know bad people do bad things all the time. Nothing about that gets me excited. Oh, rewatching Babylon 5. I watched through that one probably about 5 years ago. That is a good one. My friend Jordu worked on the masks for it, and which the first thing I felt when I started watching that show, I think it was like right around the time it was airing, was like, oh my god, this is the cheapest, the crappiest sci-fi I've seen since, like, you know, 70s Doctor Who. And then when I went back and re-watched it, I realized that it's just so inconsistent. The prosthetics and the masks are actually really well done. Not surprising, Jordu is like super good at what he does. But the sets are what are so bad. They're just so clearly like plywood with like rainbow paint spattered on them. And all these, like, if I remember, they're kind of pastel colors, and they're just very square. And I don't think the bridge is bad, but most of the hallways and like their living quarters and stuff are like that. Just like, oh. The show I want to go back and see, which I haven't seen since it was on, is what's the Muppet one? Farscape. That I haven't been able to find streaming anywhere. No. Lower the intensity a lot. Oh, that didn't lower the color intensity. Oh, because RGB intensity is separate. Look at that. Cool. So we can continue some of that rock texture down under the water. Hopefully that'll look neat to see through. And Echo Cherry Pocky just subscribed. Hey. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see if that was YouTube. I know words. I'm good at words. Shut up, you guys. That was on YouTube. Thanks, Anako, for the sub. There was a time when subscribing on YouTube meant something. Sadly, it doesn't really anymore. Like, unless they also hit the bell button, the chance of them actually coming back to your channel is super slim. Like, if you're lucky, YouTube might put a channel that you subscribe to on the, like, you know, if you go to the landing page for YouTube, which I guess some people sometimes do. But other than that, it's just going to sit on your subscribed list, which probably has like 300 channels on there, and you're never going to notice or remember again. It says, yeah, the sets are bad, but man, those prosthetics are amazing, even compared to today. And even with the HD upgrade after the first season, you can barely notice all the makeup. Gakar is stunningly good. Gakar, is he the lizard-ish guy? If so, I agree. I never grew to like Mr. French Alien. Can't remember his name. I mean, I liked his character was great, but that makeup, it just annoyed me. I don't know. I guess I've never been a fan of French anything, and that might have something to do with it. You know, it's very, very French influenced. Oh, with the exception of guy, can't remember his last name, Sierra or something, who is the creator of the musical project called Igor with 3 R's. That's the only good thing that I like from France. Memoir says, I believe there was just news that Farscape may come back as a mini-series. Huh. Well, the actors have moved on to interesting things. I really like, what's her name? Samantha Black or something Black. The one with the strong nose profile. Everything I see her in, I'm impressed. Altered Carbon, BoJack Horseman, Fringe, Black Mirror, Gravity Falls, Venture Brothers, Portlandia, The Expanse. Expanse. Yeah, I've done Altered Carbon, done BoJack, done Fringe, done Black Mirror. I have not done Gravity Falls. That's a cartoon, right? Done a little bit of Venture Brothers. I should probably give it another try. Done Portlandia. Amazing. Yeah, The Expanse was definitely high on my list. That is an excellent reminder. And I believe they just got picked up for another season on Netflix, right? Like they got canceled from whatever they were on. Probably Sci-Fi Channel. I'm guessing it didn't have enough teen drama in it for Sci-Fi Channel. That seems to be what they go for nowadays. They want to be like the WB with, well, I guess just the WB, because the WB is all like superheroes and supernatural stuff too. So like, what sets Sci-Fi Channel apart from any other channel nowadays? I ask you. Besides Sharknadoes. Face Off, my favorite show on TV ever, is on. So I guess I have them to thank for that. I guess I should say my favorite non-scripted TV show. There's too many incredibly well-done dramatic shows for me to say Face Off is better than any of them. It's the only show that actually shows people sculpting, you know, so it gets a lot of points from me for that, for obvious reasons. Claudia Black, thank you. Yeah. She was great on Stargate. Yep. Canceled from Sci-Fi, picked up by Netflix, and after that crazy fan campaign. Was it a fan campaign that did it? I feel like those don't actually do anything, but maybe nowadays they do. It certainly didn't work for Firefly. Haven't had cable in so long, I don't think it's fair for me to judge channels anymore. We tried to get rid of cable. I'm trying to remember the ultimate reason we decided to stick with the minimal package. For some good reason. I think they do that thing where it's like, well, it's actually cheaper if you keep your cable package, since you're getting internet from us anyway, and we do this package thing. Nowadays, production companies hires astroturfing marketing companies to push public opinion and try to show interest, so a streaming service will save the show. That is a terrible dystopic thought, and I completely believe it. Surprised there wasn't a Black Mirror about that. Oh, I also still have Robot Cowboy Show. We have not watched season 2 yet. I is all of season 2 out at this point? I think I don't mind waiting for that sort of thing. It's so hard for me to keep track of the convoluted plots in modern shows. Westworld. Yeah. I know a lot of my friends were twittering over one episode in particular, saying it was like the best episode of television ever made. Like, that's cool. I feel like I might need to watch season 1 again before before I try to. Or at least find a really good recap. Actually, a recap would probably be better. Just because there's so many things that just, over the course of watching, I don't know, whatever that would be, like 12 hours of, a story, there's still stuff that I can't hold at the same time as other stuff. And so no matter what, I end up losing stuff. Where if it's just presented as just the facts, ma'am, here's what happened to this character and that sort of thing, I think I can retain that better. Which seems wrong, because in theory humans are supposed to be better able to retain information when it's in a story format. Or maybe it's less about information, they're better able to retain like philosophical, ethical ideas if they're packaged as stories as opposed to data. That's probably what I'm getting wrong. Let's see, is this a good summary you're giving me? Everything you need to know. Excellent. Thank you. I will keep that for probably early this week. We're going to be finishing up Battlestar, so. Oh yeah, Caprica, I forgot about that. I remember back when I finished watching Battlestar the first time, I started watching it and lost interest really fast. Although, to be fair, that was probably in a very stressful, dramatic time of my life where, yeah, I won't go into that, but my guess is that probably had a lot to do with it. I should see if it's streaming. It's worth giving a look-see, I guess. Yeah, I don't think many people watched it. I feel like it was canceled, like, almost immediately. Like, did they get to a season 2? I don't know. Sherlock Holmes is in pre-production. The third one with Robert Downey Jr. Oh, cool. I wish they would have made more of those faster. I feel like they could have made 10 of them by now. Also, just making a TV show. Stop making movies. Movies are stupid. Shane, were you the one telling me that you preferred movies to TV shows? Someone was telling me that, and I remember hating them so much for having that opinion. TV Sherlock is crowded. Well, I mean, there's so many streaming services. But yeah, that's a... But had they been doing it from whenever they started in like 2008 or whatever, then whatever, you know, British Sherlock would be the one out of luck and have to make movies. I prefer that because I don't like the modern one as much. I haven't heard of Elementary. What's that? Yet another take on Sherlock. When are they going to make a show that's called No Bleep Sherlock? Last one came out in 2011. Wow, yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it? Oh, I remember who it was who told me that now. It was a co-worker. We were on a walk, and I was expressing my brilliant opinion that TV is just a far superior art form than movies now, and they should just stop making movies and make all TV shows. And he was arguing that he would way rather have any TV show that exists be a 2-hour movie instead. It would just get to the point, you'd be done with it. This may have something to do with the fact that he has a baby, but priorities and time, you know, shift in different phases of life. I think since I'm an empty nester, I'm more than happy to have a TV show that can last 100 hours than someone who, if they were to watch one... But strangely, I'm the opposite with games. I definitely prefer shorter games. Damon says, Elementary is on CBS, modern take with Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu. Huh, haven't heard of it. In the 8th season? 7th season. Huh. Johnny Lee Miller is Sherlock and Lucy Liu is Watson. It's kind of crime procedural, but I like it. I've always liked everything I saw Lucy Liu in. Of course, I never saw Charlie's Angels, so maybe for that reason. I did a sculptural portrait of her face once. At least I tried. Portraits are hard, y'all. Charlie's Angels is great if you know it's going to be schlock. That's probably true. Was that like late 90s? Kind of when they started redoing old TV shows. Around the time they did the Flints, the Flintstones, the Flintstones. Did they ever do a live-action Jetsons? I am shocked, but I think they have never done a live-action Jetsons. How has that not happened? Doesn't hurt that Lucy Liu is smoking. I don't know, it makes kids more likely to smoke if they see their heroes smoking. Late 90s, early 2000s. Well, yeah, I would hope she's smoking a hot cigarette. I mean, you can't really smoke a cold cigarette. It wouldn't burn. I swear, Damon, sometimes you are so dense. Can't believe you didn't know that about smoking. Am I as bad as your dad? I have a lot of practice. I've been a dad for 22 years, so. Let's go back even more. Alien Nation, 1988. Man, a wicked year. Alien Nation, let's see, I'm getting it confused with V, the letter V, which they remade, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. Alien Nation, one of the police was, or one of the aliens became a police officer? Was that the conceit? Alien Cop. Nice, I got it. I proved my nerd cred. Rose Foreman says, I thought Alien Nation was a great show. I liked how each show took a theme and wove together 3 threads illustrating the theme. Huh. Had no idea. Like shows that explore themes, that understand that they're exploring themes when they do it, and so they do it well. and games as well. Really any art form that explores themes. It's so much easier to just copy the surface level qualities, the aesthetics, or the tone of something that you've seen before and liked than it is to actually explore themes and ideas with your work. Yeah, Babylon 5 also did that really well. Alright, what do I want to do on the bottom of the water? I wonder if I could do something that feels like, you know, seaweed or something. Maybe this Dirty Terrain 03. Let's try that. It actually looks pretty good for grass. We'll come back to that. Let's try one of these weird crackly guys. It just looks more or less like the cracks that I already had. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I want a texture on the bottom because that's going to trap air bubbles in the resin that gets poured down there. You don't want to look down and see a bunch of bubbles. Parks and Rec. Yes, Parks and Rec is amazing. Letha is back. Ginger's gonna live. Congratulations. You could also watch Scrubs or The Office. You could never rewatch those enough. True, or Parks and Rec. Yeah, those three are all fantastic shows. I agree. says, I can't even watch those once. What? That is blasphemy. And the mob's gonna knock down your door and tie you to a chair and put on Parks and Rec for you until you love it. What do you mean by that, Aletha? What do you mean you can't watch them? Like you can't stand them, or you don't have a streaming service? Tried watching them, didn't like them. I would think as a horse person, you would love a show with Lil Sebastian. Everyone loves Lil Sebastian. Aletha, I could understand you not liking The Office because it is very stressful because of how awkward it constantly is. Scrubs is totally different. Parks and Rec is a lot different. I guess they have some of the interpersonal stuff that might, like, inadvertently cause stress hormones to release in your body, but yeah, it's hard for me to tell. I'm so dead inside, I just don't react to those things. Alright, shall we... Let's do Mountain Doom up here. Find whatever texture I was using earlier. I believe there was a good kind of directional one. Is it one of these? Maybe it's this one. You know what? I'm gonna make it custom, because I can. Alright, I'm going to... Stretch that puppy out. There's probably a way to do that inside ZBrush. I don't know what it is. Letha says, don't know, they just don't click with me, but that's okay. I like your live streams, and that's all that matters. I guess. Damon says, it stresses me knowing that someone is alive that doesn't like those shows. Letha says, a friend checked on Sononi for me and she drank a whole bucket of water. Oh, good. Could it have just been like a stomach flu? Like a horsey stomach flu? Alright, I'm not going to know if this effect is working the way I want it until we do this little tricky doodle. Let's do our masking. Mask by cavity. Boom. Okay. Then I need to invert that selection. That didn't work. Invert. There we go. Okay. And then use a nice dark color. Up. And then turn RGB way up. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, why did it get those flat areas too? That's not what I wanted. Let's do a mask by cavity. This time do a lighter color. I think that's a good tertiary form, but I need the secondary form to be a little more robust like it is over here. So I'm just going to undo. And I wish I could remember what alpha I used to do that other side. Oh, I think it's this one. 24. There you are. Oops. Yeah, that's... round enough so that when the intensity is bumped up, it doesn't like turn into these super jagged spikes. Well, that's pretty jagged. Gotta find that sweet spot where it's affecting the area enough to give it interesting changes without getting those little jaggies. That is not enough. Swimming at 5:30, eh? So you're saying, Patrick Corwin? Oh, they close at 8. It's 4 o'clock now. Swimming, I did swimming for the first time a couple days ago. Hated it. It's awful. However, I'm committed to doing some kind of cardio work, and out of the other cardio work that I've done, I feel like I don't hate the other stuff. I might actually hate swimming more, although I may learn to appreciate some aspects of it, but I feel like it's going to be a lot more effective than the other forms of cardio that I've done so far. I believe I did some stammering. Short for Damien. I don't want people to think that I'm cursing. Says it seems that her salt lick ran out faster than they usually do and nobody noticed, so she needed salt. And without that, she probably didn't feel as thirsty, so she stopped drinking and then didn't feel good because she was dehydrated and stopped eating. Oh wow. Because when the trainer offered a salt block, she really wanted that. She even wanted an apple we offered. Oh, hadn't even wanted an apple. Horses have evolved under human care to be so fragile. Letha says, I feel like they are made of glass sometimes. Damon says, definitely seems that way. But at least it seems solved and wasn't something like she ate a nail or something. Go swim. Or start hate running like I do. Ugh, I've done so much hate running. I just can't anymore. Well, actually, so the thing with most cardio is that I end up like spraining my ankle in some way or another. And then can't do it for a while, and it just limits lots of other things. So I think swimming kind of solves that problem because it's so low impact. Plus, if you're swimming, you don't notice the sweat. Exactly. I get so overheated with normal cardio. Like I feel like I'm going to catch on fire. When I do cardio, I'm in my living room with a fan on me, the window open, and I'm in nothing but my underwear. Like, I just get so hot. I don't those people who can do cardio in like a hoodie sweatshirt and like, how? I don't understand. Letha says, the personal trainer I got is pretty nice. Oh, the personal stepper I got is pretty nice. Works with a decent sweat, but it's not super cardio or anything. But it does get the heart rate up a bit. Doing too much too fast. Maybe? Doesn't feel like it. I mean, maybe I need to look at what other out of shape people are capable of doing and compare myself to that. You know what I could do? I could grab. Which one is this? 40. $24. Arts and Cracks 24. And I can do a high pass filter to knock those highlights down so they won't cause those little triangles. Where's that? Where does high pass filter live now? Other? There it is. High pass. None of that is doing what I want. So let's try brightness contrast. Okay, next attempt will be to use come on, you can do this. Why are you not bringing your menu up? Is a button being pressed? What is happening? Burn tool. Highlights. Selfie cam froze. Look at that. Sure did. Can you guys at least hear me? Okay. Well, just pretend that I'm practicing my ventriloquism. It's a weird little undercut going on in there. I'm not sure what caused that.
I know it feels like a bruise, but I think it's actually like a tendon on my heel. It hurts so bad. It's like it's lumpy. Like maybe the bone is shifted out just a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's like stretched. I like to stretch my tendons. You know, just good stretch. Stretch my joints out.
There's always so much more surface area than I expected. It's almost as if this object was three-dimensional. I'm going to go ahead and add some shadows in the cracks that I'm Damien standing anyway. It's not so good when I'm trying to do larger sections. Maybe I'll make it a little less dark. New pumpkin picture, everyone. Get ready for it. Oops. Get ready for it. Dun 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 dun. That's pretty cool, but kind of wish he had his crown for it. Oh yes, I'm sure he slew all those dragons, didn't he? And cattle and deer and such. I wonder what the algorithm is on this app that it seems to do it like just in a block. Like it hasn't done a single of my YouTube collection tracks. Even though there's far more of those than all the other music in there. And yet it will repeat. It seems like it was repeating some of the songs that it had already done. It's weird. Pumpkin should do Fat Cat cosplay from Rescue Rangers. I remember what he looked like. He had like a little, some kind of shirt, and I feel like a hat for some reason. Yeah, actually I was just about to close down the stream anyway, so crunch away. You heard it guys. I gotta go. I've been, you know, frozen for like 10 minutes, so I can't keep holding my face this still, you guys. It's super hard. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Yes. Alright, I'm gonna go torture myself in water and try not to drown. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Bye.